Travis Hunter trading up to number 2 in the draft to grab the two-way Colorado star who begins his rookie minicamp on Friday. His new head coach, Liam Cohen, talked about their offense getting more explosive this season.
I think we've definitely addressed the ability to strike from a distance. I think that's something that, we struggled to do a little bit last year in Tampa, where you ended up having to go 10, 12 play drives a lot, and it was efficient, right? But ultimately, you're looking to be as explosive as you can in both the run and the pass. And I think that was definitely addressed in both pro free agency and in the college draft landscape. So don't think we have to add any more at this point.
Well, they certainly could use another big play threat. Brian Thomas Jr. had 11 more 20 yards than the next closest Jaguars player. That was the third largest difference in the NFL last season, trailing only Justin Jefferson and Calvin Ridley. So, Jeff, what's the feeling in Jacksonville about these moves and how it's going to, hopefully help Trevor Lawrence?
Well, it's interesting because it's not just the addition of players, but also the subtraction, I should say. 2 players in Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, the top 2 pass catchers on the Jaguars last season, and the 2 players that Trevor Lawrence was most comfortable throwing to are now gone. So you enter into a new offensive system with new players. So there will certainly be a learning curve. But Liam Cohen has made very clear since the second he got there. You heard some of those comments there. He said even going into free agency that it is all about developing and building around Trevor Lawrence to make him as explosive and dynamic as possible. But you also heard him mention what he had to do in Tampa at times, which is be efficient. But I think that the fact that he was capable of doing both those things, and he could do it with a guy like Mike Evans in Tampa, suggests that maybe this is a fit for Trevor Lawrence and Travis Hunter.
Yeah, and I think, what he's saying is, look, we want to put speed on the field. That's what we want to do. And, I don't think it was necessarily a shot at Mike Evans. Mike Evans is a Hall of Fame receiver. Just, look, not the same type of speed that he had early on in his career. You just look at what they have. They have 2 first-round receivers, Brian Thomas and now Travis Hunter, in the starting lineup. They also signed De'Ami Brown, who is a big play receiver and is, essentially their 3rd receiver. They want speed on the field. And I think that, when you look at some teams that have said, all right, like, we're going to go big on speed, I think you look at like what Kansas City did a few years back. It was Tyreek Hill. It was McCole Hardman. It was guys like that where you said, look, we're trying to scare you to death with how much perimeter speed we have. And we feel like we have a quarterback that can get the ball down the field. And so, look, I think that's what they're trying to do in Jacksonville. I think actually if you look at Green Bay, that's what Green Bay is trying to do. So they're building a case to say, all right, Trevor, we've put it around you. Now it's your job to take this thing over and play like we think you can.
Tim, the last part is the most important part you just said. This is going to be about Trevor Lawrence not flashing and playing with consistency. To me, that's been the biggest issue in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
When you start talking about his play. And now it's his responsibility. I think this is a critical evaluation year for Trevor Lawrence. Maybe not within that organization because they paid him, but I know people outside, myself included, I'm going to be watching Trevor Lawrence closely, man, because it's just been too much up and down. Now, he's dealt with some injuries. He's dealt with some change at the position. He dealt with Urban Meyer the first year, and you can throw that away. So there's been a lot of change since he's been in Jacksonville, but I think everybody now is comfortable in saying that throughout the duration of a season, he has to play with some consistency. We were there for a Monday night game when Joe Burrow actually got injured, and Trevor Lawrence didn't play well, and Jacksonville lost that game to the Bengals, and we were all trying to figure out, what is he? How is he going to, like, this #1 overall draft pick with all the tools in the world, how is he going to finally get into that upper echelon of the conversation? I think this year has to be that year.
Marcus, you're exactly right. I mean, like we said when Doug Peterson came in, let's wash away the Urban Meyer time. This is now Trevor Lawrence. This is what he's going to become. And as soon as we realized that Doug Peterson wasn't the answer, we said, we'll give him another chance with Liam Cohen. We can't keep doing that. And I am a big advocate of what Trevor Lawrence's potential is. But now he's got the player. He's got the coach. I do agree. This is a massive year for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, and he ranked just 22nd in explosive pass plays last season. A lot of room for improvement there. Meanwhile, the Baltimore Ravens have released kicker Justin Tucker after 13 seasons. Tucker is currently the subject of an NFL investigation into allegations of improper conduct during massage therapy sessions. He had been with the Ravens since the 2012 season and is the most accurate kicker in NFL history. A total of 16 massage therapists from 8 Baltimore area spas have accused Tucker of improper conduct, which he has denied. Last month, the Ravens selected kicker Tyler Loop from the University of Arizona in the 6th round. That's the first time they've drafted a kicker in franchise history. And Ravens Executive Vice President and General Manager Eric DaCosta said this in a statement on Tucker's release, and I quote, "Sometimes football decisions are incredibly difficult, and this is one of those instances. Considering our current roster, we have made the tough decision to release Justin Tucker."
Heritage Month. Here's Colts DB Cameron Bynum on the opportunities he hopes to see for Asian American Pacific Islanders.
My goal for the future is to see Asian Americans and just Asians overall be introduced to sports at an early age to give them time to develop and become stars in their own space. I think the earlier we have the Asian community start sports and get introduced to it, I think the world will start to see that there's real ballers in every sport across the Asian community.
Browns rookie minicamp begins on Friday. Shedeur Sanders will be joining a crowded quarterback room with fellow rookie Dillon Gabriel and veterans Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and Deshaun Watson, who is currently recovering from a torn Achilles. Sanders got taken in the 5th round of the draft. Cleveland has started 40 different quarterbacks since 1999, the most in the NFL. NFL reporter Jeff Darlington and NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck with us right now. And Jeff, I'll start with you. What are the Browns' plans for Shedeur Sanders with rookie minicamp just days away?
Well, I can tell you, in a word, competition, the beginning of a competition. Now, we should be very clear about this. This is still a rookie minicamp, and this is not a place where anything gets decided other than allowing rookies to kind of understand some of the inner workings of the NFL when it comes to meeting rooms, a little bit of just the equipment room, understanding getting on the field. By no means will anything be decided. That being said, I cannot remember a more anticipated competition between 2 rookies entering a camp than this one. And that is because either of these guys do have the potential of winning this job in time for week 1. Yes, we've perhaps seen more talented rookie quarterbacks. I think back to Robert Griffin III and Kirk Cousins when they were there. But there was no competition there. That was RG3's job. In this instance, Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders both could win this job, albeit they won't be able to win it until they get in veteran camp when they're up against those other players that you just named.
Okay, so Tim, you heard it right there. No decisions will be made. You obviously know that as well. However, a lot of people anticipating this quarterback battle. Who do you think starts week 1?
I think Joe Flacco